Hey, greetings YouTube, it's Vacuum of the Month time, and we're going to talk about the HF6, what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, and a couple of channel updates. So stay tuned to this video. So the first thing I want to talk about, the Lindhaus HF6 has a really long hose. Just to give you an idea just how long that hose is. And the idea with this canister is you roll it into the middle of the room and just vacuum like that. So it's really like a central vac, but portable. And speaking central vacs, I want to show you something cool I found about it. So the cool thing about the HF6 that I really didn't notice until I was using it, and I went back and watched my review on it, which if you haven't seen my VDTA review on this or any of the other Lindhaus products, please go watch them and share them with family members on social media. This guy locks here, and mine happens to be missing a flap that should be there. But something that's really cool is if you notice, that's just a central vac hose that they used. So in order to save money, that appears to be what they have done. So in theory, I could plug my central vac in there. But more cool than doing that, I think, is we're going to go to Zambrano School of Engineering here. So I have a piece of tin foil that I took tape and wrapped it around here, and now I have the world's shortest central vac hose. Whoops, more importantly, we can use the power head. So we're going to do a pseudo big mess test. I put a bunch of Rice Krispies down, some dog hair, and we're going to vacuum with the Lindhaus power nozzle with the central vac attached. Plug it in. Man, that did a wonderful job. And that's one thing I noticed when using this, is it really grooms the carpet. Now our little Zambrano engineering has come undone, and we're just going to go ahead and have to discard that. I don't know any other place where we would discard that, but down on the floor, of course. So we're going to plug this into the HF6 and see how it does. Some of you may have noticed that the power head actually shut off. And the reason for that is it is a double brushed power head with a single brush circuit board. I do have on the highest setting for my soft carpet, but you'll see it's got the double chevron brush, which is a great performer. But for soft carpet, you might go with the single chevron brush, or at least I would test it out in store. They've updated a lot of this stuff, but this is one reason why I didn't go with one of these originally for my central vac. But again, they've updated this since. Alright, you can see that did just about as good as the central vac. Quite amazing, really. As you can see, this coffee table is quite dusty, and the Lindhaus, first of all, one of the improvements that they made was they changed these to go on hinge up, so that's a huge improvement that they've made on their newer one. But one thing I thought was really cool was you could take the tool like so, and yes, you can put a brush in there, or you can put this guy on. Now, anybody who's had a filter cleaner, a really old Kirby has seen a tool like this. It's a felt tool. So I'll show you how that works. So that's the felt tool. I really liked using this for doing some dusting. I thought it was really a cool idea, especially with animal hair and stuff just flying in there. Really a cool idea for a tool. And again, that just kind of snap in and out these things. I'm not sure the newest one comes with this tool, but I'm sure Lindhaus you could order it. This tool was quite tired. One thing I didn't use, but I kind of wish I had, was this cool telescoping tool with this dust brush. So I wish I had used that, but really all this really did was rattle around in there the whole time while I was using it. Again, Lindhaus has addressed pretty much any complaint I have with this machine, except for the weight. Lindhaus addressed with their newer model, and there's not much you can do about the weight. So if you are grandma and grandpa, I don't recommend it. But, you know, if you're a guy in their 20s, 30s, 40s who's fit, no problem. So let's take a look and see what we got inside the bag. Well, the bag is huge. If you're familiar with an Oric bag, this bag is about the size of an Oric bag. Except there's no way I'm going to fill this up. My house isn't dirty enough, but it's pretty full if you look at it. I'd say there's at least a Milo's bags worth of dust in here. And what's interesting is the shape of this is the paper one is square. So I'm curious if this is the newer version or if the square one's the older version. If anybody knows, definitely comment below. We were quite curious about that when we were talking about it. And you can see the bag self-seals. Now, I will say this bag is not of the same grade that Miele or Henry or Lindhaus, not Lindhaus, Zero G use. It's a thinner HEPA bag, and it has a bit of an odor to it. So I went ahead and gave the machine a spa treatment. Didn't seem to alleviate the problem. I've never had a vacuum stink here. Now, to be fair to Lindhaus, let me just put that bag back. Let's put this cover on here. It's pretty easy to change. To be fair to Lindhaus, under here you can actually get a charcoal filter or a HEPA filter, both which would address that odor problem, I'm sure. So if you were to buy one of these, highly recommend getting those filters with it. And that goes for any Lindhaus product, whether you have allergies or not. You can get great filtration on Lindhaus's. I know that the HEPA filter that goes in here is sealed. I know that it blows a zero on the particle counter. And I want to apologize to you, I no longer have access to a particle counter. So definitely go check out the link below with Patreon and help us possibly get a particle counter. Or if you don't care about that, comment below about that too. I love reading your comments. Now the other thing that's different about this versus the newer machine is this electronic speed control. So that was one thing that was cool when I was using this. It has the electronic speed control. Now after I gave this the spa treatment, you can tell if you watched the last vacuum of the month, that motor sounds like shit. That motor is dying. And it's not a tribute to Lindhaus, it's a tribute to the previous owner. I originally had thought it was a thrift machine. No, it's not a thrift machine. It was a trade-in. The lady had used the hell out of it. And there was, when I took it apart, there was like oil, like dried oil, grease, I don't know what it was, stuck in there. Like nastier than Kirby cake. It was clearly a chemical product that was stuck there. So I don't doubt that this Lindhaus has had a very, very rough life. One other thing I kind of was really annoyed by, and this only goes to anybody looking to get this vintage of this machine. One, I love the swivel, I love the handle shape, but I was super annoyed by the whistling of this. I'll turn it on, see if you guys can hear it. But the whistling sound that this makes drives me absolutely nuts. And again, Lindhaus has addressed this with a whole direct connect handle, and they've fixed all this stuff. The other thing I want to mention is you can actually get that power head in a 14-inch width as well with pretty much any Lindhaus product. So if for some reason you wanted the wider head, you can get that. The other thing I found with the Lindhaus is you have to unravel the cord all the way. Not really a big deal, but you do have to unravel that cord. It's a long cord. This is one of the only machines I've been able to vacuum my whole upper floor with it plugged in. So I would say, if for some reason you couldn't get a central vac, but you had a large house, this machine is definitely for you. So that's kind of what I found using the Lindhaus. The other thing I didn't realize is it's heavy. It's really heavy. So I didn't really realize that until I weighed it, and I realized it was 20 pounds. So before I announce what vacuum is going to be vacuum of the month this month, I wanted to mention a couple of things. I have been getting a bunch of comments on the Zero G about its filtration, and I was very clear in the video, I swear, but I'm going to talk about it more, and I would refer you to the Chris at Vacuum Wars tested this as well. The filtration is a HEPA bag with a gasket. They have a patent on the bag. You have this pre-motor filter, and then you have this charcoal pre-motor electrostatic filter as well. So the filtration on the Zero G is actually really, really good. I don't see why that would come into question. If you see a machine with a gasket and a HEPA bag, generally that means the company went the extra mile to make sure it filtered well. So don't know why that's a question I keep getting, but I do keep getting it. So I just wanted to mention that. Another comment I got, which I posted to Instagram, and if you're not following me on Instagram, I highly recommend it. I try to post there daily, little snippets. And one of them was referring to our friend, Johnny. And if you don't know Johnny, I did this video on the misleading facts about vacuum packs, who has not posted in over a month. So I think he has been called out enough times that he's no longer going to put out his misinformation. So that's something, and I, again, go on Instagram and you're welcome to see that comment. The other comment that I love to read your comments. I love flamers. If you're not familiar with what a flaming comment is, it's something horrible. Or somebody's super upset. So I got one about my Kirby review video that was absolutely hysterical to me, because I started, before I did a Kirby review, I did the Kirby teardown, polish, and full service of the machine to show that the machine was in proper working order and tip-top condition, to give the Kirby a fighting chance, because I knew how underpowered it was compared to some of the other vacuums I use. And when I'm rating vacuums, you know, I work with the best of the best. Not saying that Kirby isn't a decent machine, but it, again, when we compare it to some of these modern vacuums, it just can't compare. And that's my opinion based off years of vacuum repair. So before I get to this guy, this guy made this wonderful comment, and when you do a really long comment on YouTube, it automatically goes to a spam filter. So, and I read through the spam filter occasionally because it's just really fun. So what he said is I wasn't using original Kirby parts, which I have a video of me installing the original Kirby parts. I always recommend original Kirby parts. I also explained that the tech drive was not on the hard floor. He somehow missed that. Basically he wrote me something so long I can't actually read it within 3 paragraphs of my phone. Anyways, so love those comments, but sorry. One other comment I wanted to get to, who is a Patreon supporter, so I want to thank you. I want to thank everybody for being a Patreon supporter, but Radioactive Kitten, thank you so much. It's not your real name, so I've got no problem using that. You asked why I don't use a backpack. I don't like the idea of having to lug around my a vacuum when it can be on wheels and pull and follow you behind. I think the Nest Pig was a great commercial machine, though heavy. And I think that the pneumatic range past Henry are better products. And the Nest Pig is still in production. Highly recommend that machine. So I recommend those over a backpack. The other thing is I had several cleaning crews buy backpacks and then come buy canisters from me about a month later. And what happens is the cleaning crews go into a home and they break something with the backpack. So that's why I don't recommend backpacks. In an office building or a big open space, maybe a movie theater, it might make some sense, or a church, maybe. That's the reason I don't personally recommend the backpack. Roll around industrial canister of the same materials, absolutely fine. And the backpacks are all very well made for the most part, except for Sanitaire. They have a backpack and it has a relay board on the back, and it tends to catch fire right where your spine would be, so I don't recommend that one, but most of the others are fine, even if they're made in China. Now, the other comment I got was on a repair video on this, and I said, well, you know what, Vacuum of the Month, I'll address this, since I thought I had to clean this, and looking at this, obviously, I don't. But let me get that in frame. I'll explain how you clean a Vesselwork power head versus, say, the Lindhaus or something like that. You get a knife. And if you're in Britain, I don't know how you do this. Maybe with scissors. Are you guys allowed to have scissors in Britain? I don't know what's up with that. I have to make fun of our friends across the pond. And you get a knife, and you basically just pull this out, and you can get the whole width of this. There's no ingest bars on this. So there's no actual reason to remove this brush roller to clean hair or debris off it like some vacuums. So that's how you clean this out. And one thing you can do is run a wire brush on the bottom side of that as well while it's running, but careful, your fingers could get caught in there, so not liable. Now this one is the same way. There's no ingest bars on the 12-inch model, and you could do exactly the same thing where you just follow this along and you can just cut that on there. So that's just a quick and easy way to maintain a brush bar. Most of you already know this, but I just wanted to mention that as well on there. All right, who is ready to see what Vacuum of the Month is going to replace the Lindhaus? I'll give you a hint. He's got a big face. A corded Henry, a 160 corded Henry. And I am maybe more in love with the plug-in version of Henry than the cordless one. So full disclaimer, I am a distributor for them, so I'm kind of plugging my own stuff, but even if I wasn't, I would still love this. I guess I wanted to do business with a company that I like, so when you see an endorsement from me, I have to like it and have used it in my home, and that's one of the reasons why I tested the Lindhaus out of my house before releasing a review video, because I was so enamored by the Lindhaus at the trade show. I was enamored by Henry. I've been enamored by Henry for a long time, watching Mr. Ibaziak's videos and Becko's videos, and Hoover Lux even showed him at one time. So, and the thing that gets me, it's really cool about this, they have this nice big industrial cord. You have the manual winder, and this manual winder solves so many issues with vacuums. I can't even begin to say that. So that's something you're going to see an unboxing and a full review of Henry. And of course, since I have carpet, sorry, I have to hit the tripod there, we're going to be using him with the turbo tool. Now you can get the Henry as a Henry Extra with this in this country now. Let's pull him apart. He is so heavy. And I can see that he has an Amtech motor in there. And I want to see how many watts it is, because people have been complaining that they only are 600 watts. And, well, here in America, let's see how many watts it is. Series lamp electric, 120 volts. Let's see a wattage on him. Huh. 620 watts printed right there. Okay, so he is 620 watts, but he is pretty darn powerful. And you're going to have to wait to the review video to see the working water lift. I did want to mention that the filter appears to be different than the Henry cordless. It's a much thicker filter, and that bag is empty. So we're going to use him all month long for the month of July. Now, the irony of using a British vac in the month of July, which is the Independence Day of the U.S., for those of you out of the country who don't know about that, is not lost on me. I understand the irony of me using a British vac. I should be using an American vac. Well, maybe next month we'll use an American vac. But this month we're going to use this. And I just want to say I am a proud patriot. And but, you know, water under the bridge with Britain. Though I still fly my Gadsden flag until the 4th every year. And then I switch it on the 4th. I switch it to the American flag with the stars and stripes. So just a little tad bit of something I personally do to pay homage to our history. So that's the vacuum of the month. Again, thank you so much for subscribing, watching, and all that. And definitely check out all of our other social media where we post stuff a little bit more often. And stay awesome.